still... Oh...
Anyway... That's right! No, no! Phew! Of course!
Could it be?
Hey, Correct!
Hey, hey!
Are you sure about this? Bye-bye! What is most important for living things? Well, personally, I think time is. I mean, your bank account may go up and down, but time will inevitably... That's why we gotta cherish time. There is nothing more wasteful. So, time's up. We will begin the last class trial, so please gather at Monokuma Rock. I'll see you soon.
Yep. But still... Well... But still... Right?
Damn right.
Huh? Damn it.
Stupid fool!
That's right. Damn it. Of course not! You know, right? That's right! You...
Huh? Got it?
I'll pick you up!
Huh?
Wait.
You...
But still. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you are right.
Damn it.
Well now,
Shut the hell up! Hey!
yep,
All right!
now then. Viva Killing! Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the
right to leave this island. Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit? Chesto! One more time! Jeez! How about this one? This will be my final blow! It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place! If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko!
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
No, that's wrong.
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared! Ah, I just realized it! It's a trap!
A trap?
Stupid Hajime! You got caught in that trap! Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was you obviously assumed he couldn't talk, but that was the trap! He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated!
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention! This is first, the killer tortured Nagi and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him...
Damn it!
Like you said, Nagito's mouth was you obviously assumed he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap! He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention! This first, the killer tortured Nagi and got information about then, after they killed him.
Allow me to cut through those words! No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
What did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors. We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? You have a crush on him or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so he wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer? If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
You can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then, let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is! The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused...
I agree with that. I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought! It was the wind pressure! A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
see! You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
That's it. So this are actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
So the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter. Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
With the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
I see!
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used. You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
You don't mean...
Hajime? What do you mean?
This is my answer! What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget? Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible. To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
To actually tie up your own arms... No, that's wrong!
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
I see!
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Don't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me! Give me back that Benjamin!
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it!
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest!
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what?
If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand. Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
I agree with that. The life-size Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach. He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it. If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary! It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long!
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right? If you think about the order, Getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For a reason.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out!
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stabbed into your right hand, while your left hand is tied up.
So you're saying it's impossible?
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else. I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right? But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monomi's sassing me!
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. This might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible. I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now. Everyone working together.
All right, let's do this.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through. When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, that's wrong!
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked... He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain. But it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm, and the back of his hand...
I see!
When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm, and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Here's the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear! Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, The wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand...
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
I see! That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily. It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time? At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time? What does that mean? Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned. It's all coming together! The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just before that.
Perpendicular.
If Nagito did that all by himself, did he have some sort of ESP? That'd be awesome, but he'd probably use the ceiling girder directly above him.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder, and using that as a support, he hoisted the spear directly above him. And if Nagito let go of the cord, the spear would have fallen and impaled him while he was laying face up.
I noticed a slight red streak on the ceiling girder. It probably got smeared there during the setup.
The blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
He probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that. If someone else did this, there's no reason they'd go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
I agree. When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was. Why did the killer use the knife and the spear so differently?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull off his trick?
Then, this is for real? He really committed suicide? Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Not just that, he did all that while he was gripping the spear? That spear should not have stabbed Nagito until the very end. Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
Did he put the duct tape on his mouth too?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far? That's beyond crazy! Why would he do that to himself?
He was probably trying to get us to make a mistake. By committing a suicide that looked like a murder, he was trying to steer us toward the wrong answer. His goal was to get us all executed.
And that's why
Did he want us to die that bad?
That's messed up. It's seriously so messed up.
Yeah, that's...
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right? Whatever became of that?
He was probably planning to kill the traitor along with the rest of us.
So why did he not just do that in the first place? If he had no qualms with killing everyone, he did not have to cause a bomb scare to reveal the traitor.
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy behind this trick. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could have killed him.
He tried to make us doubt each other. And tried to hide the truth behind his suicide.
Did he cause a bomb scare for that reason alone?
He's a fucking bastard who killed himself for his delusions of grandeur. It's not that unthinkable.
You are right, I suppose.
Yeah, it appears we've come to a conclusion. Bastard Nagito committed suicide. It was all done by him so we'd be executed.
That should be okay, right?
What? You're not satisfied yet?
No, I agree that Nagito killed himself, but I feel like there's something that doesn't make sense. It's probably just my imagination.
So what are you gonna do? Is it okay to proceed with the voting time?
What do you think, Akane?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito's death was a suicide. Oh well, I guess my gut is wrong sometimes.
You are right. It is not as though we can draw any other conclusion.
Then it's okay to end it here, huh? That means we're done with this last class trial and we can leave this island, right? It's okay to reach such a happy ending, right?
Then it's okay? It's okay to say, you've decided on the killer? Understood. Then voting time.
No! Hold on a sec.
Hold on. Why?
Sorry, just a little more. I want you guys to wait just a little. I can't help but feel like there's still something we overlooked.
Like who the traitor is?
But the issue here is who killed Nagito, right? Even if we identify the traitor, the conclusion won't change.
That's true, but
The mystery isn't just about who the traitor is. No matter how you look at it, Nagito's death is a suicide. But I'm a little worried, you know? I'm worried about starting the voting time while there's still a mystery.
Hey, what do you mean it's not about who the traitor is? What kind of mystery is left?
There's just one thing that doesn't make sense, and it relates to Nagito's death. Plus, it's something even Nagito couldn't influence. He couldn't even tamper with the evidence for it.
You're gonna keep going? Here,
I see!
Is it about the Monokuma file?
Yeah, that's it. Huh? There was something suspicious in the Monokuma file?
In this particular case's Monokuma file, there's no specific cause of death.
Isn't that weird? Until now, the files always specified the cause of death. But the cause of death is obvious, is it? The spear in Nagito's stomach. It is obvious just by looking at it that it was the cause of death.
maybe it's not included if it's not important enough to write about.
Well, Monokuma, I plead the fifth!
There he goes again! I'm so upset.
And before during Nikon's case, the thing he purposely omitted from the Monokuma file was always the most important mystery in the case. Are you saying that applies this time too?
Hold on a sec. Then, are you saying there's more to Nagito's death? Are you suggesting, again, that his death wasn't a suicide?
You guys were the ones who said it was a suicide in the first place!
No, I don't think it's a mistake to call Nagito's death a suicide, but it's not just a suicide. Come to think of it, did Nagito really commit suicide just to get us all killed?
Are you sticking up for him?
That's not what I meant. I mean it in a bad sense.
Bad sense?
I just remembered that his malice always defied our expectations. For example, would that malice just end here?
Huh?
Did Nagito's malice drive him to risk his life for a truth we'd reach this easily? I mean, this is Nagito we're talking about, you know?
How interesting! You sure do believe in Nagito, huh? Because you believe in his malice, you continue to suspect his malice. I see. I guess that's what passes for friendship these days.
What friendship?
What should we do, you guys? Should we proceed with the vote? I think we should keep going until everyone is satisfied, even if it's just to be safe. You're right. We only get one chance to vote after all.
Just to be safe, huh? Guess I have no choice. If that's the case, I'll do my best to go along with it.
This is friggin' annoying. But if you guys say you're doing it, there's no way I'm gonna back out.
Hey, Monokuma! You heard us. The voting's gonna have to wait!
We've come this far. Let's work hard till the very end. If we work together, everything should be all right. That's what I believe.
Aww, splendid. You guys are so splendid right now. That's right. If all your hopes are united, no despair can shake you.
No, no!